Sea otter goes hunting. Page 2. One day, a little sea otter knew that he was old enough to find food for himself. He wasn't a baby anymore. He didn't have to ride on his mother's chest or swim beside her all the time. Page 3. He had learned how to dive all the way down to the bottom of the sea. That was where he could hunt for shellfish. Page 4. The little sea otter rolled over and dived down. Tiny bubbles of air in his thick fur made him look shiny as he flashed through the water. As soon as he reached the mud and the rocks at the bottom, he saw something bright. He picked it up with his front paws and rushed up to the top again. Page 6. But he had made a mistake. He had not picked up a shellfish. He had found an empty drink can. Page 7. It was bright and shiny and was fun to play with, but it wasn't good to eat. The little sea otter dropped the can and dived down again. Page 8. He put his paws between the rocks and felt around. He found a shellfish. It was a clam, but he could not move it. The clam was tightly stuck. The little sea otter had to come up for air. Then he dived down to try again. He saw another clam, and this time, when he tugged at it, it came away in his paws. He tucked it under his arm and rushed up to the top again. Page 10. The little sea otter lay on his back in the waves and tried to open the clam with his teeth, but the shell stayed tightly closed. Then he remembered how his mother opened clam shells. He always used a rock. Page 12. So the little sea otter dived down to the bottom of the sea again. He had to keep holding onto the clam. He didn't want to lose it. He hunted around in the seaweed and saw a rock that he could use. When he came back up again, he was carrying the rock and the clam. By now, he was feeling tired. Hunting for food was hard work. Page 14. Then he lay on his back and put the rock down on his front. He knew just what to do because he had often watched his mother. Page 15. He held the clam in both paws and hammered it against the rock. The clam still didn't open, so he had to keep trying. He hammered again and again and again. Page 16. Crack! The shell broke open at last. Now the hungry little sea otter was able to eat the clam. It was delicious, and he had found it and opened it all by himself. The Ant and the Dove. Page 2. Once upon a time, there was an ant who went down to a pond to get a drink of water. Page 3. But he was in too much of a hurry. As he ran down the pond, his tiny feet slipped in the mud, and he fell into the water. Page 4. The ant could not swim. He went round and round in the cold water. There was no one to help him. Page 6. A dove was sitting up in a tree by the pond. She looked down from her branch and saw the little ant in the water. Page 8. The dove wanted to help the ant. She took a leaf in her beak and let it fall into the water. Page 10. The leaf came down beside the ant, and he climbed onto it. The dove had saved him. Then the leaf moved slowly across the pond. It stopped by some long grass. Page 12. But as the ant rested on the grass, he saw a man's foot right beside him. He looked up and saw that the man had a net in his hand. The man was going to catch the dove. Page 14. Now it was the ant's turn to save the dove. He ran onto the man's foot and bit him as hard as he could. The man shouted out, and the dove turned around. She saw the man with the net. Page 16. Thanks to the little ant, the dove had time to fly away. And that is the story of how the dove helped the ant and the ant helped the dove. The Ant and the Grasshopper. Page 2. Once upon a time, a little ant lived in a beautiful meadow. All summer long, the grass grew tall, and the flowers were bright and colorful. The ant had made an underground home for her family in the meadow. She worked hard and was always busy. Page 3. Nearby, there lived a grasshopper. He sang and danced all day long. There was plenty of food to eat, and life was good in the meadow. He hadn't a care in the world. Page 4. But soon the cooler days of autumn arrived. The ant knew that it was time to prepare for the coming winter. So she spent many hours gathering seeds and carrying them back to her home. Page 5. The grasshopper just sat in the sun. Sometimes he watched the busy little ant running backwards and forwards through the long grass. "Why do you bother to work so hard?" asked the grasshopper. "It is much more fun to sing and dance." And he jumped about in the grass, chirping happily to himself. Page 6. The ant said to the grasshopper, "You are a very foolish creature if you do not know that winter will soon be here. When the snow comes, there will be no food to be found. Then you will starve." Page 7. But the grasshopper took no notice of the wise little ant. "You are just wasting your time," he laughed. "We have more than enough to eat. And besides, why would I gather food that I might not need?" And he danced away through the meadow, singing his favorite song. Page 8. All too soon, the days began to grow colder. It became much harder to find food. One morning, the ant and the grasshopper awoke to find the meadow covered in snow. The ant was able to shelter down in her home, but the grasshopper had to jump about on the frozen ground. Page 10. In the days that followed, snow kept falling. A cold wind blew across the meadow. The ant and her family stayed safe and warm. Every day they ate some of the seeds that they had gathered during the autumn. Page 12. Meanwhile, the grasshopper was finding that the meadow in winter was a very different place. Now he had to spend his days looking for something to eat. After a few weeks, he became very thin and miserable. He went to see the ant in her underground home. "I'm freezing out here in the meadow," he cried, "and I'm starving too. Please let me have some of your food." Page 14. The ant looked out at the grasshopper. I worked for many hours to gather this food in the autumn, she said, and you took no notice when I told you that winter was on the way. Besides, there are only a few seeds left. I'm sorry, but I have just enough to feed my family. Page 15. Then the ant said to the grasshopper, however, you are lucky. Winter is almost over, and spring is coming. Very soon there will be plenty of food in the meadow for all of us. Page 16. The grasshopper crawled away, knowing how foolish he had been, and by the time the snow had disappeared, he was a much wiser creature indeed. The Little Workplane. Page 3. Jed was a pilot at a big airport. He flew the workplanes. They were kept in the big sheds by the runway. Page 5. One day, Jed got a call from a man at the airport. Please come now in your little plane. We need you to help us. Jed started up the engine. Page 7. The little plane went slowly down the runway and stopped by the big planes. The big planes looked down at the little workplane and laughed. You will have to get out of our way, they said. We are going to take off soon. Page 8. A man came running over to the little plane. He gave Jed 2 big bags. Take these bags up to the farm on the big hill, said the man. There is so much snow up there that the farmer can't get out. He needs this food for his family. Page 9. Jed pulled the bags of food into the little plane, and it moved slowly down the runway. Page 11. The little plane went faster and faster. Then away it went up into the sky. It went over all the houses and the farms. Soon it came to the big hills. There was snow all over them. I hope I can find the farm, said Jed. Page 13. The little plane flew around the hills again and again. Jed looked for the farmhouse. Then he saw it. The farmer was outside. He was waving to the little plane. That looks like the place, shouted Jed. Page 15. Jed pushed the bags of food out. They fell down into the snow by the farmer. Good work, shouted the farmer, and the little plane flew back to the airport. Page 16. The little plane went slowly past the big planes. I did a very good job today, said the little plane. I helped someone who needed me. The mouse deer escapes. Page 2. Once upon a time, a cheeky animal called a mouse deer tricked some crocodiles. He got them to lie side by side in the river so that they made a bridge. Page 3. Then the mouse deer crossed the river by walking over their backs. The crocodiles were very angry with him. Page 4. The mouse deer went to eat some delicious red fruit. After a while, he was thirsty. He needed a drink of water, but the river was full of danger. Page 5. As the mouse deer turned to look at the river, he saw the angry crocodiles. He knew they wanted to grab him. Page 6. The little mouse deer kept walking along near the river until he came to a thick forest of bamboo sticks. He was very thirsty by now. He knew he must find a place where he could drink. Page 7. The mouse deer could not see any crocodiles at all. He looked around carefully. "It's safe here," he said. "It will be easy to get a drink." But the mouse deer did not know that he was in great danger. Page 9. An old gray log was lying under the water. Just as the mouse deer bent his head and began to drink, the log opened its jaws. It grabbed his front leg. The log was a crocodile. Page 11. "Aha," said the crocodile. "I've got you this time." The mouse deer's leg was hurting, but he knew he must not cry out. He had to think fast. "You didn't get me," he told the crocodile. "You have got a bamboo stick in your jaws. It's only a stick." Page 12. The crocodile was not very clever. He forgot that the mouse deer had tricked crocodiles before. He opened his jaws, and the mouse deer jumped away. Page 13. The mouse deer ran off and hid in the thick bamboo until his legs stopped hurting. Page 14. After a while, the mouse deer remembered that there was a little pool near his home. It was too small for crocodiles to hide in. He could have a drink there. But he still had to find a way to cross the river before he could get home. Page 15. Then he saw just what he needed. An old tree had fallen down, and its trunk went all the way across the river. The tree could be a bridge. Page 16. The mouse deer walked carefully over the bridge. He looked down at the river where the crocodiles were waiting. "They don't even know that I'm crossing the river," he said to himself. "I've tricked them again." And that was how the mouse deer got safely home. Tricking the tiger. Page 2. Once upon a time, there were 2 foxes who lived in a den with their 3 cubs. Mr. and Mrs. Fox went into town to look for food every night. Page 3. They often found something good that had fallen on the ground. Maybe some chicken, or some fish, or some pumpkin. Mrs. Fox always found the most food. Page 4. The foxes would eat what they wanted. Then they would carry the rest of the food home to their cubs. Page 5. Mr. Fox always told Mrs. Fox how clever he had been to find so much food. He talked and talked and talked all the way home. He liked the sound of his own voice. Page 6. One night, as they were walking home, a tiger stepped out in front of them. "I'm going to eat you both," said the tiger. When Mr. Fox saw the tiger's sharp teeth, he was so scared that his legs began to shake. Page 7. Mrs. Fox was scared too, but she knew that she had to think of a way to trick the tiger. If she didn't, he would kill them both. Page 8. "I think you should let us go," Mrs. Fox told the tiger. "We are old and thin. Why don't you come home to our den? We have 3 little cubs there. They are young and fat." Page 9. Mr. Fox looked at her in surprise. He could not think why Mrs. Fox had told the tiger about their cubs. Page 10. The tiger licked his lips. Soon he would be eating 3 cubs as well as 2 foxes. You had better show me the way to your den, he said. Page 11. I'll lead the way, said Mrs. Fox. Follow me. And she hurried off. Page 13. Mr. Fox was very glad when they came to the den. He ran inside first before the tiger could stop him. Mrs. Fox turned to the tiger and said, "Please wait here while I go and get the cubs." Then she raced inside after Mr. Fox. She knew that the tiger could not get through the doorway. Page 14. The tiger sat and waited, and waited, and waited. Page 15. The foxes and their 3 little cubs hurried out the back door. Page 16. They ran as fast as they could until they were far, far away. Clever Mrs. Fox had tricked the tiger and saved them all. After that, Mr. Fox never told Mrs. Fox how clever he was. And that was just as well, don't you think? A different tune. Page 2. Once upon a time, in a land far away, everyone looked alike and did things the same way. Page 3. And everyone had the same thing to say. Hello, what's new? I'm fine. How are you? Page 4. Each and everyone played a tune on his nose. Each played the same tune with all 8 tiny toes. Page 5. Into this land, where all looked the same, there came a stranger. Bill was his name. Page 6. Bill was different. It was easy to see. Everyone thought Bill was the wrong way to be. Page 7. Bill's nose was short, not long like the rest. Next to the others, Bill failed every test. Page 8. Bill had only 6 toes. The others had 8. The others were early. Bill always was late. Page 9. Because he was different, Bill sometimes felt bad. Bill tried to be happy, but sometimes he was sad. Page 10. To cheer himself up, Bill started to play a tune on his nose in his own special way. Page 11. Bill used his fingers instead of his toes. Bill used his fingers to tune up his nose. Page 12. Beautiful music Bill started to play. The music was as sweet as a warm summer day. Page 13. The music made everyone open his ears. It was music that everyone wanted to hear. Page 14. Yes, Bill was different from all the rest. Yes, Bill was different, and his music was the best. Page 15. Bill could not do what the others could, so Bill did what he could and made something good. Cultural games. Page 2. Different games. Children all around the world play games. Many games have rules that have been passed down from parents to grandparents. Page 3. Some games can have 2 or 3 players. Some games have many players. Some games are team games. In other games, one or two players play against all other players. Some games have winners. Some games are played just for fun. Page 6. Cockatoo Century. Cockatoo Century is a game played in Australia. Two players are it. This means that they play against the rest of the players. The rest of the players form two groups. Each group is given a name. Page 8. The players in the two groups called out, "Cockatoo Century, Cockatoo Century, what do you see?" One player, who is it, calls back, "I see green pastures and tall gum trees," and they then say the name of one of the groups. The players in the group that has been named have to run to the end of the field past the it players. Page 9. The two players who are it try to touch them. If a player in a group is touched, they have to stand like a tree. They can stretch out their arms, but they cannot move their feet. They become it, and the game starts over again. If the players who are it do not touch anyone, they are it again. Page 10. Keno. Keno is a game played in Japan. It is a juggling game played by girls. The girls play the game with small cloth bags filled with rice or pebbles. Page 11. The girls juggle and throw the bags up in the air, and then they catch them. Some girls can throw and catch 3 or 4 bags at a time. Page 12. Stop There. Stop There is a game played in Argentina. It is a ball game. One player has the ball to start with. The other players run around. The person with the ball calls out, "Stop there." Page 13. Everyone has to stop, and the player with the ball throws it at someone. If the ball hits a player, then that person takes the ball. If the ball misses, the player with the ball keeps it for another turn. Then the other players start running again until the player with the ball calls out, "Stop there." Page 14. Other cultural games. Game, hide and seek. Origin, US. Game, Kawi Pawi Po. Origin, Korea. Game, Piñata. Origin, Spain. Game, Sack Race. Origin, England. Game, Jump Rope. Origin, US. Page 16. Glossary. A cockatoo is a bird like a parrot that is found in Australia. Pastures are pieces of land where cattle, horses, and sheep are kept. Pebbles are small, round stones. Rules are used to explain or show how a game is played. Winners are people who come first in a game or event. Don't throw it away. Page 2. Do you know where all the rubbish goes? Do you know how much rubbish there is? Do you know how many things people throw away each day? Do you know how many things you throw away? Make a list. Write down all the things you throw away. Page 3. Rubbish is put into bins and taken to rubbish dumps. Page 4. Food. Did you have food on your list? Do you throw food away? People throw away old food. They throw away food that they could not eat. They throw away apple cores. They throw away orange peels. They throw away banana skins. Page 6. Paper. Did you have things made of paper on your list? Do you throw paper things away? People throw away things made of paper. They throw away newspaper. They throw away milk cartons. They throw away paper bags. They throw away cardboard boxes. Page 8. Plastic. Did you have things made of plastic on your list? Do you throw plastic things away? People throw away plastic bottles. People throw away plastic bags. They throw away plastic toys. They throw away plastic plates. They throw away plastic gloves. Page 10. Glass. Did you have things made of glass on your list? Do you throw glass things away? People throw away glass bottles. They throw away glass jars. They throw away light bulbs. Page 11. Metal. Did you have things made of metal on your list? Do you throw away metal things away? People throw away metal cans. They throw away metal plates. They throw away metal foil. Page 12. Making use of rubbish. You don't have to throw all those things away. You can make food into compost. You can make a garden with compost. You can grow plants in your garden. You can make your garden in a milk carton. You can make your garden in a plastic bottle. Page 14. You can put things in recycling bins. People make new things out of old glass. They make new things out of old paper. They make new things out of old plastic. Page 16. Make a list of all the things that you can do so that you don't have to throw things away. Flying south. Page 5. It was raining. Bird was wet. Page 6. I'm fed up with this, cried Bird. I'm flying south to find the sun. Page 7. Flap, flap, away she flew. Page 8. Until the rain ended. Page 9. Hooray, I'm south, said Bird. Page 10. Bump, thump. Hailstones hit her on the head. Page 11. I'm fed up with this, said Bird. Flap, flap, away she flew. Page 12. Until the hail ended. Page 13. Hooray, I'm south, cried Bird. Page 14. Flutter, flutter, snowflakes fell. Page 15. Brr, I'm fed up with this, said Bird. Flap, flap, away she flew. Page 16. Until the snow ended. Page 17. Hooray, I'm south, cried Bird. Page 18. Whoosh, a great wind blew her into the air, on and on. Page 20. Until the wind ended. Page 21. Hooray, I'm south, cried Bird. Page 22. The sun shone. Page 24. It was too hot. Page 25. I'm fed up with this, cried Bird. Flap, flap, away she flew. Page 26. She flew and she flew. Page 28. Until she was home again. Page 30. And it was raining. Page 31. Lovely, said Bird. Raccoon on the moon. Page 2. This is the story of a fat old raccoon who one night jumped way up to the moon. Page 3. that old raccoon would come around each night to have a little fun by the back porch light. Page 4. He would waddle right up to the old woodpile and knock over logs with a great big smile. Page 5. Looking for food was his great delight. He took a whole pie from the kitchen window one night. Page 6. He also ate birdseed when he was in the mood, but most of the time he just played with his food. Page 7. That raccoon made a mess, and that made me mad. So I bought a watchdog and named him Bad. Page 8. Bad guarded the yard like a good dog should. If that raccoon came around, Bad would scare him good. Page 9. Then one night, when Bad was asleep, the raccoon sneaked into the yard without making a peep. Page 10. The raccoon climbed up into the old bird bath that sat by the porch at the end of the path. Page 11. The raccoon splashed around like a child at play. He didn't see Bad sneaking up his way. Page 12. Bad barked out a deep, deep roar. It was a sound the raccoon had never heard before. Page 13. Bad gave that raccoon an awful fright. The raccoon jumped straight up, out of sight. Page 14. The raccoon jumped up to the moon, some folks say. He's never been back here since that day. Page 15. So, late at night, when you look at the moon, keep your eyes open for that old raccoon. Rivers. Page 2. Different rivers. There are rivers all over the world. Some rivers are long and some rivers are short. Page 3. Some rivers are deep and some rivers are shallow. Page 4. Some rivers are wide and some rivers are narrow. Page 4. Some rivers start out narrow. Then they get wide as they get near the ocean. Page 6. Some rivers flow fast and some rivers flow slowly. Page 7. Some rivers start out flowing fast. Then they flow slowly as they get near the ocean. Page 8. Where rivers flow. Rivers start on the mountains. They flow down to the land below. Page 9. They may flow into bigger rivers. They may flow into lakes, or they may flow into the ocean. Page 10. Where rivers get water. Some rivers get water from lakes on mountains. Some rivers get water from springs on mountains. Some rivers get water when ice on mountains melts. Page 11. All rivers get water from rain too. Some rivers in hot places dry up. They dry up if there is no rain for a long time. Page 12. Floods. Sometimes rivers flood. They flood if there is a lot of rain. When a river floods, the water overflows. It goes onto the land around. Page 13. Floods can make a big mess. Floods can hurt people and animals. Page 14. People and rivers. People use rivers. Some people swim in rivers. Some people wash in rivers. Some people fish in rivers. Page 15. Some people live by rivers, and some people live on rivers. The calendar. Page 2. The first calendars. A calendar is a way to tell the time. Calendars show days, months, and years. Long ago, people used bones and stones to tell the time. They made cuts or holes in the bones or stones to show different times. Page 3. Some people used sticks. They made cuts in the stick to tell the time. Early calendars: cut bone, cut stick, cut stones. Page 4. The people looked at the weather to tell them what time of the year it was. If it was cold, it was autumn or winter. If it was hot, it was spring or summer. The 4 seasons: autumn, winter, spring, summer. Page 5. A very cold day told people it was winter. Page 6. The Chinese calendar. The Chinese calendar uses animals. It uses 12 animals. The animals tell which year it is. It starts with the year of the rat. Every 12 years, it starts again. A dragon stands for the 5th year of the Chinese calendar. Page 7. A Chinese calendar cycle. 1. Rat. 2. Ox. 3. Tiger. 4. Rabbit. 5. Dragon. 6. Snake. 7. Horse. 8. Sheep. 9. Monkey. 10. Rooster. 11. Dog. 12. Pig. Page 8. Mayan calendars. The Mayan people made very good calendars. They looked at the moon. They looked at the sun. They looked at the stars. They looked at the planets. Page 9. They used these things to make the calendars. A calendar used in ancient Mayan culture. Page 10. The Julian calendar. The Roman people had a calendar. Then a man made some changes. He added 2 more months, but the calendar was more than 1 year. The Julian calendar was invented by Julius Caesar, who changed the old Roman calendar. Page 11. This Roman man is looking at a Julian calendar. Page 12. The Gregorian calendar. Another man changed the calendar. He took 10 days off 1 month. Now the calendar added up to 1 year. It takes the earth 1 calendar year to go around the sun. Page 13. Pope Gregory XIII changed the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar in 1582. He took 10 days off October. Page 14. This calendar is the one that we use today to tell the months of the year. The youngest giraffe. Page 2. The youngest giraffe had been running and playing all morning. Page 3. He was hot and thirsty and he wanted to have a drink. He looked around for his mother. He could see her walking down to the water hole. Page 5. The other giraffes were thirsty too. They were all going down to the water hole. The youngest giraffe ran along beside them. Page 7. The giraffes looked around carefully for lions. They could see some zebras drinking at the water hole, but today there were no lions to be seen. It was safe for the giraffes to stand and drink near the zebras. Page 9. The youngest giraffe wanted to be like the big giraffes and the zebras. He wanted to drink from the water hole. He had never done this before. Page 11. He put his neck down and he put his head down, but he could not get his mouth into the water. He was very thirsty. Page 12. The youngest giraffe tried again. He moved his legs out just a little bit more. Page 13. He put his neck down and he put his head down, but he still could not get his mouth into the water. Page 14. The youngest giraffe had one more try. He pushed his legs out as wide as they would go. Page 15. And this time, when he put his head down, his mouth went right into the water. Page 16. At last, the youngest giraffe could drink at the waterhole, just like the others. And so he drank and drank until he was not thirsty anymore.
Fast things. What goes fast? Lots of things go fast. Some people can run very fast. Some animals can run very fast. Some cars can go very fast. Some cars race on a raceway. These cars are called race cars. Race cars race round and round the track. A roller coaster goes very fast. You can ride a roller coaster at a park. You go up on the roller coaster and come down very fast. A jet plane goes very fast. A jet plane has jet engines that make it go very fast. A space shuttle goes very fast, very fast. A space shuttle goes out into space. The space shuttle goes very, very fast to get out into space. Astronauts go into space in space shuttles. Astronauts go to the moon in space rockets. You can run fast. You can go fast in a car. You can go fast in a roller coaster. You can go fast in a jet plane. Can you go in a space shuttle? Can you go to the moon? I run, run, run. I run, run, run. Fast, fast, fast. I run, run, run. I won't be last. I run and I run past a tall green tree. I run and I run. You can catch me. Surprise for Bear. Kangaroo got into her jet. I must fly fast, she said. I have to get there in time for spring. Alligator got into her speedboat. I must go fast, she said. I have to get there in time for spring. Buffalo got on the train. I must go fast, she said. I must get there in time for spring. Polar Bear got in her kayak. I must paddle fast, she said. I must get there in time for spring. Walrus got on the bus. I must go fast, she said. I must get there in time for spring. Puma got in her car. I must drive fast, she said. I must get there in time for spring. So kangaroo and alligator and buffalo and polar bear and walrus and puma all went very fast. Surprise! They shouted. Wake up, bear. It is springtime. The robot's adventure. Run. I want to go out in the rocket ship. I want to go somewhere fast. Rose. I will come with you. I like going in the rocket ship. I like to go fast too. Rick. We can go to Earth in the rocket ship. Rachel. I like it on Earth. We can play on Earth. Rose. Come on, come on. Get into the rocket ship. Rachel. I will drive the rocket ship today. I will take us to Earth. Ron. Blast off. Rick. Here we go. Rose. Here we are on Earth. What will we play today? Rachel. We can play on this slide. I like to go down this slide. Ron. I like this swing. This swing goes up and down. Rachel. This seesaw goes up and down too. Come on the seesaw with me, Rick. Rick. I like the seesaw. I like going up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Rose. Time to go home. Come on back into the rocket. Ron. Blast off. Rick. Here we go. Rachel. That was a good day on Earth. Where will we go tomorrow? Ron, Rose, and Rick. We will go to Earth again. We like it on Earth. Blast off, blast off. Blast off, blast off. Fast, fast, fast. This is a rocket race. Don't be last. Blast off, blast off. Here I go. Past all the other rockets. They're just too slow. Blast off, blast off. I will set the pace. I will be the winner of the robot's rocket race.